Have you ever given up your individuality for other people to fit in, to please them? I was raised by narrow-minded parents whom I absolutely love, but they wanted us to grow up to be just like them. And I believe that in accepting ourselves and embracing ourselves as individuals and encouraging others to do the same, raising our children to not be judgmental and to accept themselves as individuals makes life much more fulfilling and rewarding and a much more happier place for everybody to live. It's important to recognize yourself as an individual, and it's important that you allow and encourage others to do the same. And it's important to raise your kids to not be judgmental of those who are individuals and to recognize their own individuality and let them be individuals as well. And first of all, I want to think about myself here and how difficult it was for me growing up as a child with parents who wanted us to be just like them. They wanted us to fit in with their peers, and they wanted our beliefs to be the same as theirs, our lifestyle, way of living to be the same as theirs. And that was pretty difficult growing up. And then they sent us to a private school in high school. We all had to wear the same exact uniform, and I thought, this is going to define me. This is going to make it so I have to be just like everybody else. How am I supposed to be myself? But I was able to figure that out. And it came to a point in my high school years as a teenager that I grew in self-confidence and self-awareness, and I did a lot of great things. And I was probably one of the happiest teens anybody ever saw. Society has a structure. They have a certain lifestyle they want us to go by. They have styles of clothes that we should wear or lifestyle ways that we should follow. There's certain structure in society that considers us the in crowd. And if you don't follow that structure, lots of times you find yourself on the outside, and sometimes you are considered an outcast. But regardless of whether you're inside that structure, outside that structure, that's okay. There's a significant value to everybody's life as individuals. So many people have so much to offer in life. And I think of Dr. Seuss. He was rejected by 27 different publishers before he was finally able to get his first book, and to think that I saw it on Mulberry Street. That was finally published. And look at all the great contributions Dr. Seuss has made to the world. So many. And he didn't give up his individuality. He embraced it, accepted it, continued his writing. Secondly, we want to help and embrace others to accept their individuality as well. And I think of my best friend Karen in high school. When I went to the private school, that's where I met Karen. She had no other friends. She was different, a little bit nerdy. And I kind of was drawn right to her. I thought she's a fantastic person. She had a lot of individuality. She liked to write. I liked to read her stories and give her a lot of feedback, which she was a really good writer. And I did sports. She likes to encourage me in my sports. And together we would sing in like national singing competitions and state competitions, which was a lot of fun. And we always encouraged each other. Didn't matter which direction we went. We were an encouragement to each other in our individuality. And I often would run into fellow students after we graduated years later that would say that they always had looked up to our friendship and how much of an encouragement we were and how happy we were in school and what a great friendship we had. And one of those is my sister. She's younger than I am. She would constantly kind of like follow us around, and you know, we were always someone that she looked up to. She and her friends looked up to us. And later in life, she was able to express that to me, how she had looked up to Karen and I in our relationship and how we were able to help each other out in our individual aspects of life and how much fun we had and how happy we were. Everybody noticed that. But the world is a cruel place. And like I said, often you can be considered an outcast. And a quote from Odyssey's The Importance of Individuality says, people who aren't happy with who they are can be incredibly ruthless and mean when it comes to others. And that takes me to Thomas Edison. CBS News Morning Break had a special that they ran, and it was famous people and their failures to success. And one that they focused on was Thomas Edison and how his teachers would call him stupid or tell him he was too stupid to learn. But Thomas Edison didn't give up. He embraced his individual inventor's nature, and look at all the things we have today. Thank you to Thomas Edison. He's a fantastic example of an individual who went forward with his individual nature and continued on and did great things, invented great things. Lastly, I want to focus on raising our children to not be judgmental and to accept others and themselves as individuals. Philippe Rochat, in his writings of 5 levels of self-awareness that unfold in early life, mentions children at an early age and how they first start recognizing themselves in a mirror. And by the age of 2 or 3, they've developed a self-awareness where they become embarrassed when they feel that someone's watching them, or when they're noticing that others have an opinion of what they're doing, and they're more conscious of what others think of them at that age. I have a 2 and 4-year-old grandsons, and I can often see that in them. And the 4-year-old is always trying to get the 2-year-old to do the same kind of things he's doing, and the 2-year-old doesn't always want to do that. So it's kind of an interesting level of helping them to develop their own self-awareness. And say the 4-year-old wants to color something, the 2-year-old wants to color it a different way. The 4-year-old's almost adamant about do it my way. That's when I have to kind of step in and say, that's okay. You can each color your things the way you want to do them. That's okay. You're 2 different people. When they want to play with toys, maybe one wants to play with this toy, one wants to play with that toy. Encouraging them that that's okay. The 4-year-old has a little bit of a control issue with wanting to control what his brother does because he wants him to be like him. I may not have been the best parent when my kids were growing up, but I tried. I think I did a pretty good job raising my own children as individuals and to not be judgmental. They seem to be pretty successful in that in their lives. To summarize everything up, I just want to say that discovering your own individuality, accepting and embracing your own individuality, that of others, and raising your children to do the same can bring about such self-awareness and self-confidence and self-esteem, and that is needed in today's society to be happy and successful and to live such a fulfilling, rewarding life. So I encourage everybody to find their inner individuality. Be happy with who you are. Help others to do the same. Raise your children to do the same. Imagine how dull the world would be without all the colorful people in it.